Está live. Hey there, and welcome to episode number 3. As you know, we have been talking about what is live on all about. We talk about why should you start live streaming, and in the last episode, we talk about how actually we have different levels of live stream production. This means that in today's episode, we're gonna focus on content. Now, if you're watching us live, you're obviously going to see the little live dot from Facebook, or the little square, the button, so you know that we're live. If you don't see that, that means that this is no longer live. We are recorded, and you can fast forward until the end of the countdown. So as soon as the countdown ends, we're gonna go ahead and start with the show. In the meantime, we're gonna collect the viewers, and once it is finished, we go ahead and start with episode number 3. Content is everywhere, especially if you're an event organizer. You have content happening everywhere you look at during your event. If you're leading a community, there's content everywhere that you can actually use to engage them. The biggest problem is that whether you don't know how to identify it or you don't know how to package it for your community to engage with. Today, we are going to focus on everything related to content and live streaming. So let's go ahead and start this show. Hey there, my name is Juan Guerra. I'm the host of Live On, and this is episode número 3. Yes, for the last 3 weeks, we have been having every Friday an episode where we talk about how to grow your business using live video. Today, we're going to talk about something very, very interesting. We actually have a lot of stuff to go through, and it is related to content. You know, if you're an event organizer, you know that you want to capture what is happening there, either with doing a film, an after movie of your event, or actually hiring a photographer. As more and more live streaming companies start to become more popular and grow, production is going to be something that you will have to hire or make it a must in your next event. On the last video, we talked about the different stages that are out there, the basic, the intermediate, and the professional level of live streaming. And today we're actually going to focus on that content, how to actually package or find that content within your event so you can package it in a way that it is attractive for your community and also for your sponsors. If you are an event organizer, if you are maybe a small business, or if you are an influencer, we're going to discuss different examples that you can use for your live streaming, but mainly we're going to focus on the big events. Because, as you know, I'm Juan Guerra, I'm your host, and I'm the founder of Streemed, a real-time media company that is producing online events of festivals and conferences for social media. So today we're going to talk about 3 main things. The first thing that we're going to talk about is actually the most interesting things that come to a live stream. So the stuff that actually captures the people's attention when they're scrolling down, or that actually grabs, it connects them to your event or your brand. The second thing that we're going to cover is actually how to deliver that content. What should be the tone of voice? What should be the mindset? What should be the approach? What are the elements that is going to make your audience attracted to the content that you are delivering? And the third thing, it's actually examples, real-time examples of how you can actually implement live streaming, live video to your event. So the first thing, as I said, is actually what are the most interesting stuff when it comes to live video? Well, the research says, according to livestream.com, that there are 3 things that are used in live video, the most popular ones. The first thing actually has to do with education, so stuff that gives knowledge and content that is valuable for your personal growth. The next thing is actually events, so things that are related to entertainment. And the last thing is actually behind the scenes. So we are in love with getting to know what's happening behind the camera. How are the people getting prepared? What is their story? What is their mood? How they're actually coping with all the stress. You know, there's a reason why reality TV shows have become so popular in recent years. And now with live streaming, this allows you to connect and get that inside story. Before I continue, I want to remind you that we are actually live, so if you have any questions, make sure to drop it in the comment section below, because as I get at the end of the 3 points, I'm going to go ahead and answer your questions as depending on how many we have. We'll go over them. So the next thing when it comes to those 3 events that I mentioned, so events, I mentioned events, behind the scenes, and actually education related. Well, when it comes to those 3 categories, we can focus that content that we create in 5 main ways. First thing is actually a personal story. It's very interesting to see somebody in a keynote or delivering a presentation talking about how they managed to achieve something. Perhaps they're the founder of a startup, or they have some kind of particular story that it is captivating. Personal stories are fascinating. So this is something that you can focus next time that you're creating content for your online community. The next thing is actually, as I said, behind the scenes. Let's say you are organizing a festival and a conference. Well, we would love to see how that speaker is getting ready to jump on the stage. What is maybe the ritual if you are in a concert? What is the singer getting into? How do they get in the mood? Or what is the craziness happening behind your restaurant? If you are perhaps a cafeteria and it's crazy there, we want to see how is all this coming together flawlessly so that the consumer can actually enjoy it. Something else would be, for example, the next point would be Q&A. An interview is always interesting, especially it's easier to create content when you have somebody else. In my case, which is actually educational, and I'm sharing what we have learned about live streaming, it is a lot of content that one person has to deliver in some sort of monologue. But if you have a Q&A, this is also very interesting because then you have this conversation with somebody who has achieved something very interesting. The next point will be giveaway. Tombolas, raffles, these things are always interesting. We want to know if perhaps we could win. We want to feel part of the interaction. We know that we could have participated and perhaps be on the winning side. So giveaways are always interesting because they have a lot of emotion and people can connect with what is happening there. And the last point is actually a sneak peek. You see how many movies, for example, they have a short film of how it's gonna look in the future, which is actually not even the trailer, but they take some scenes. We are addicted to getting to know, to be the first there to see what is happening. So sneak peeks are a great way to showcase and use live stream to get people into what you're working on. That's it for point number 1. Point number 2. So I just explained to you 5 ways that you can actually create content on. 5 things that will give you the framework. The next thing is actually how to deliver your content within those 5 elements of the framework. Well, when it comes to stories, people love stories, and you know that. You scroll down Facebook and there is something that you find interesting and then you get hooked on it. Stories have been captivating audiences for thousands of years, and of course, when it comes to live video, this works beautifully. The other thing is that you should take advantage of live stream in the sense of how natural and authentic it is. This is something that allows you to have this two-way conversation. And when it comes to live video, if you're doing a Q&A, make sure that you engage your audience. If you're doing a personal story, make sure that you can ask your audience for feedback. This is the whole point of live video. You know that I am right now in our office and we turn it into a studio. You know that right now I'm sharing with you the knowledge that I have learned over the last months working on live streaming for production, for festivals and conferences. It is raw, it's natural, it's authentic. Take advantage of that for you to build a connection with your audience. The next thing is super important. It's actually, yes, you're live. No, you cannot edit. So you need to make sure that you put some effort into the pre-production before you go live. The best way and the best thing to do is actually to structure your content. So have a little structure of the points that you want to cover. You don't need to write it all down, but the most important thing is that within that outline, the structure, you have the main goal of what you want to achieve with what you're saying. This is super, super important because as you're getting out there, there is a lot of things that you want to cover and you want to make it as easy as possible for the people viewing so that they can follow what you are saying. Another way then is actually to break monotony. If I'm just talking one-on-one here and just saying and using my voice in a very constant way, obviously this is gonna create monotony. It can be boring. So try to implement different elements within your story. What we are doing here in the video actually is one thing to do that is by having 2 different cameras. So it's a look here or I look here and then perhaps I switch back to here. This breaks it with the monotony. You have a different angle, what I'm saying, you feel that I'm talking in a different place. Later we break the structure by going into the Q&A section. So try to find ways. You can have audio, you can have music, you can have videos, you can have maybe somebody else coming to you, you can play with your voice. There are many things that you can do in order to break the monotony as you deliver the content to your audience. Another thing is, and the most important thing, especially if you are a small business, if you want to engage your community, if you want to become an influencer, is just go for it. Yes, we are a production company that is focusing on live streams, so there's many things that we can do, but in the end, you just need to build that discipline. And one of the best things to do this is use Instagram, use the Facebook stories, just get comfortable with what is happening there. Many times, and I know it from my personal side, that I feel that I need to use these channels, and then okay, I'm gonna do a story, and then what am I gonna talk about? Just go for it, push yourself, get comfortable with the camera. And the more comfortable you get with the camera, the better the content will be, the easier it will be for you to build a connection with your audience. For me in the past, I've been working a lot on public speaking and delivering presentations to groups of 500 people and engaging them for a couple of days, and doing the transition to video. Definitely the first couple of episodes was a bit of a challenge because then I don't have an audience that I can get real-time feedback, that I can see and interact and hear laughing and work with. Little by little it has been improving, and by now I feel super comfortable to talk in front of you and engage you and make jokes and actually ask you to share comments and ask you to do things. This is part of the process, and I encourage you just to go for it. Just get out there, get in front of the camera and start talking. I just want to make a quick reminder, and it is, remember that we are live. So as I go over the third point, I will open up the Q&A, and I'm looking forward to your questions, answering them, interacting with you. Or perhaps if you have not done so yet, I encourage you to like it or leave us your comment or feedback, okay? Good, so I have covered so far the 5 things that people are most interested in when it comes to a live stream. And the next thing is I talk about how you should actually deliver that, that content. So the third thing I'm gonna focus on is actually on examples. And this is gonna be a bit more practical. So for example, if you are organizing a product launch, one of the things most common that I've seen is when you organize an event, yes, you think of the photographer and you know what they're doing. You think of the videographer to make an after movie or to record the talks and you know what they're doing. But now with live stream, we think, okay, let's just point some cameras to the stage and then we'll get this live. Please don't do that. This is already enough, and I encourage you, okay, you have a live stream and you are getting people to see what is happening there. The whole point of live video is to make it a two-way conversation, to engage with the audience that is there. They get to see what is happening on real time, but they also get them be part of the conversation, okay? Make sure that you can interact with them, that you have somebody on social media answering comments, getting them into what is happening at your event. So let's say, come back to the topic of you have a product launch or you have a press conference. Well, you need to think of what is the ultimate goal of that event. Is it to build trust? Is it to get more people to apply to your company, employer branding, and so on? You may have an agenda, but that agenda doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to be attractive for social media. It could be actually that it's very short, and then all you have is a networking event. Well, this is when you need to start thinking that social media becomes a whole nother stage. It's a whole new stage where you can create content, and you should create content designed for social media. Just the same way you write a blog post for Medium, just the same way you do a picture for Instagram, just the same way you do a post for Facebook. You should use live stream the same way. Adapt it to the platform where you're streaming. Create content dedicated for that platform. So for example, if you have a product launch, perhaps your agenda or your program is not so interesting to stream. But then you can create a little interview setting where you can engage with the different stakeholders from your event interview them and then share that with the people who couldn't be there. Show them why are people participating at your event, who are the people part of your community, the stakeholders. It's something that you can very easily do and stream online. For a product launch, you don't even need to organize an event anymore. With the live stream, you can set up a little studio in your office and go ahead and present it to the world. You can work on the distribution and make sure that the viewers show up. For example, for a conference or a festival, you have many things happening on the stage, but it's not only there. There's way more quality content that is happening beyond. So for example, in the forum, in the exhibitors, you have people who are presenting their products and you have the participants who are asking. There are many, many things that you can do. At the same time, you have great speakers that you have flown from across the world and you want to get the most out of them. So why don't you just interview them? Why don't you create content from their trip, or why don't you show the behind the scenes? Maybe you can see if you have some kind of rock star speaker that is coming to your event, you can show them coming into the airport, then the trip, or you can have a little interview with them as they prepare for the event. There's a lot of things that you can do out there beyond just putting a couple of cameras on a stage. Another thing, for example, for a startup competition, let's say, or some kind of other indoor competition that is not sports related, you can focus on the actual competitors, but also focus on the jury and in the audience. Make sure that you get that full-time experience and you can actually moderate the event. You can have a little behind the scenes where you're talking with the audience and telling them a bit of the background. You can run interviews and give them that inside scoop that only you can do with a live video. If you're a small business, let's say you have a bakery or coffee place, it's always cool to see where your bread is coming from, what is the story of the people that work there, who are other guys in the community that are coming to shop there. The whole craziness, the behind the scenes, the struggle, running the business, there's so much happening. One of the things I encourage you to think, especially if you're a small business and you want to create content that is live, think about reality TV shows. You see this Hell's Kitchen and Shark Tank and all the different things that are popping up out there. You can very easily implement this and create content from your perspective to build your community. As you can see, I have covered already the 3 main points, and we have been on a little journey of focusing on the things that are the most attractive, then how to deliver the content, and then implementing this depending on the type of event or the type of business that you're doing. The most important thing is that you test and you see how things go, what is most attractive and how can you actually engage more people. We have noticed, for example, that panel discussions when we're streaming an event tend not to be so interesting because you have a lot of people and you need to cover them, and the people who are not there cannot connect with the discussion, for example. So you need to think about the content that you can stream, what is possible, what is not, and the best way to do that is actually put yourself in the shoes of somebody scrolling through Facebook. Would this be something that is interesting for you to watch? Okay? I'm gonna go ahead and finish it here. I'm gonna move on now to the Q&A, and I'm gonna check the phone and see all the millions and millions of questions that are arriving. Please stop. Don't send so many questions. I will not have time, all 6 of you. And let me see. So stream. Great. So guys, I want to encourage you to ask questions. It doesn't matter. Maybe we don't answer them now or later, as in case you're not watching the show as we're live. Please stop sending your questions anymore. My phone will collapse. Please stop it. And yeah, you make it very easy for the Q&A section. Rina, hi, nice to see you. Actually, Rina, it would be great to know how was with you were asking us last week for live video and some tips on your community. It would be great to know how that is going out there. I've seen a couple of posts from your site. We follow you as well, yes. So if you would let us know, would be great. Hey Lack, nice to see you. I guess you're watching us all the way from Algeria. That's cool. And encourage you as well to do more and more live streams. As you know, every Friday here at 4:30 on our channel, we'll share with you tips on how to grow your business through live video. Cool. Well, thank you very much for your support, guys. Thank you. And I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. So First thing, think about your event. Is it on the educational side? Is it just a festival, a conference, what type of event? It doesn't matter, but it's an event. Or you want to focus on behind the scenes. Once you figure out what exactly is what you want to share, then you can look into personal stories, you can do little interviews, you can do raffles or sneak peeks of what is happening in the background of your event. Make sure that you take full advantage of the live effect of real time, of live stream, this natural, authentic, raw connection that you can have with the audience is priceless. Capitalize on this, okay? And the last thing is, if you're a festival, if you're an event, start thinking that live stream, it's a whole new stage, and create content designed for that stage. I think this is the most important tip that I can give you when it comes to content. Put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's scrolling on Facebook or somebody who is a fan. What would they like to see? How can you give them the inside scoop? How can you provide value to them and your sponsors? I want to invite you, that's it for this episode. I want to invite you definitely for next Friday at 4:30 p.m. because we are going to focus on the different platforms out there and how to choose the best platform to start streaming your content, and more importantly also, what are the technical requirements that you will need to make that live stream a success. To close it up, I actually want to know who are the people watching us. I want to see who is our community. We perhaps not have that many people when we are live, but by the end of Monday, we have 4,000 people on average who have gone through this live stream. So I want to encourage you just to drop in the comments, say hi, hello, how can we actually help you with live stream, or how are you working already? How are you growing your business using live video? As you know, my name is Juan Guerra. I'm the founder of Streemed. It's a real-time media company, and we produce online events for social media from festivals. This has been Live On, the place where you come to grow your business using live video. Thank you very much, guys. I wish you a great weekend and see you next Friday. Cheers.